And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Wednesday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends up in that top right-hand corner of the screen. You can see it in Gary's box, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We have a full show here today, Wrestling Wednesday, episode 11. And man, we have Gary Althiser, our wrestling guru, and the head coach of the Wellsville Tigers. Scotty Mincher down there in the bottom right box. And then the voice of live wrestling on YSN this season, Chris Colucci, joining us for the first time on Wrestling Wednesday. Chris, it took you 11 episodes, but we finally got you on, buddy.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Wrestling's been taking off, and I love it. And first year out of high school, and I got to do something to stay in the sport of wrestling.
Before we narrow it down, like the recap of the recent wrestling that you've done, let's just go over what's it been like calling wrestling all year and to be able to put so many great athletes, so many great tournaments live on the airways at YSN.
So just going into this year was my goal to get more wrestling on the network because wrestling's kind of taken a back seat. A lot of people say I don't really agree with, but wrestling's taken a back seat to other sports, and I just want to get it, known and out there, and more kids to go out there and do it, and more kids to go support their classmates, support their fellow students, support their fellow student athletes, and go out there and support them while they wrestle on the mat. It's just such a fun sport to be around, and once you learn it and understand it, it's an amazing sport.
Those people that say maybe it's taking a back seat, I just want to say no other sport has a half an hour long segment on a talk show every week. So wrestling got that to its belt. Chris, you have had a couple of good ones of late. West Branch Salem last week, Canfield as well, they wrestled. And then last night, Liberty and Howland. Just recap the recent wrestling that you've been to and some of the things that you've seen.
Yeah, so last night I was at Howland. It was their senior night. I'm really actually me and one of Howland's senior wrestlers, Adam Heckman. We did a lot of wrestling together when I was in high school. We wrestled for a club called Scrapyard, and I kind of made a promise to him that I'd go out and I'd support him and I'd call one of his matches, a senior night match at home, and it was a very good match. It was quick. It was only an hour long. If you know anything about wrestling, that's very uncommon for something to be an hour long. But it was good. Last night, Howland got the win over Liberty, very commanding lead. And then last week, I probably called the two craziest sporting events I've ever been at in my high school career, YSN career. It was absolutely insane. The first night of wrestling, it was, I think it was Wednesday night. It was Fitch and Canfield wrestled each other. Canfield traveled over to Austintown. Crazy match, very crazy match. They started at 113 and got one all the way up to heavyweight. Coach Bird from Austintown did a little trickery in his lineup and bumped Marky Stankorb, one of the better wrestlers in our area, from 215 to heavyweight to wrestle another one of the better wrestlers in the area, Vince Luce from Canfield at heavyweight. Marky's given up 60 pounds to bump up and wrestle, and he got the job done with a victory of 3-2 to seal the deal. 106 was still to come, but it was, the points were too far away for Canfield to come back. I'm very proud of Marky and how well he did, and giving up 60 pounds and getting that takedown in the crucial third period that he needed to get. And then the following night, it was the craziest match I've ever been at. High school, college, you name it. It was the craziest match ever with the atmosphere of students and fans. Excuse me. It was Salem welcoming West Branch, and if you know anything about that rivalry, they hate each other. They do not like each other. It's always it's football, basketball, wrestling, anything. It's very fun to see, and Salem's probably had about, I'm not even exaggerating, 70 students in a student section. Coach Johnson from the football team made it mandatory for all his football players to go to that. And it was a packed house. I won't go into details, but at least 10 police officers were there for crowd control and making sure everything ran smoothly. It was atmosphere like no other that I've been at. They had a spotlight over the mat. Salem won that pretty handily. But yeah, just a lot of good wrestling these last few weeks, and that's what gets you better coming in this near future, because sectionals, districts, and state are right around the corner. I think we're 23 days from state, I think, on the countdown.
I love that Ron John made it a mandatory, like you are going to support your wrestling team for the football team. That's awesome. I wish more coaches in the athletic departments would make that. Hey, like if you're your basketball coach, it's going to be mandatory that you go to this amount of your other basketball teams' games or whatever it may be. Um, that's just athletes supporting athletes, in a school system. Nothing better, Chris. You know that you've been a part of the student sections at South.
Yeah.
Athletes supporting athletes. Nothing better than that. Gary, you have some stuff to recap. You had the Buck Bailey tournament down there at Wellsville. You were able to play the gracious host to 16 teams. How'd that go?
It went really well. We had a great turnout of teams. We had a great turnout of fans. There was a lot of people in the stands. We ran straight through. We didn't take any breaks. So we still got out at a decent time, which I know everybody loves. We got out there by like 5 or 5:30. And teams from all over the place. We had a team from downstate West Virginia and Cameron, which is almost a 2-hour drive from Wellsville. And we also had Akron North, which is the same. It's a hour and a half, 4 hour and 45 minutes in the other direction. So we had almost 3 hours of highway in between the two furthest schools that met in the middle there in Wellsville. And it turned out to be a really good tournament. There were some really good matches there. There was state ranked kids there. And there were a lot of new faces, which I like to see. Some teams that we haven't seen or haven't seen much of came. Some familiar faces came. Some people who have graduated from around the area who now are head coaches in other places brought their teams. So it was a good time. It was a good day. We moved this 2 weeks further up in the schedule into February because the date we had clashed with the EOWL. It clashed with a couple of other local tournaments here, and that's really worked out well for us.
Who were some standouts in this Buck Bailey tournament? Who won it? Who were some wrestlers that really showed up and showed out?
Southern won it. Buckeye Local came in second place. Cameron in third. They were all pretty tight race there. A wrestler by the name of Elijah Gervins from Akron North High School won the MVP. He also set the school's record for all-time wins and all-time pins. So he came. He had a good day. His teammates talk about a team full of guys screaming for every match and every wrestler when they went out there. That's a great atmosphere that Coach Reed has going on there with the Vikings at Akron North. And Elijah was able to get his win in the finals was his win to set the school record.
One more recap from the weekend, then we have to get over. The MVAC championships happened down in Waterloo and Atwater, and Garfield came away with that. Gary, you predicted that. I don't think it was really much of a stretch to say Garfield was the favorites in the MVAC. Of course, Keegan Sell, the MVP down there. Chris and Gary, I'm going to ask you both. You both know that Garfield wrestling program pretty dang well. You both know Keegan Sell pretty dang well, too. What makes that so special? Chris, we'll start with you.
I just think it's the winning tradition. There's two young freshmen in that program with the last name of Sell and Andell again. Hunter Andell and Keegan Sell both winning state last year. It's just a winning culture, a program that's turning kind of into a dynasty and turning into a legit team. One of the premier teams in the area is like, oh, Garrettsville's here. Okay, we got to be on our A game when we're at this tournament. But it's just Coach Andell out there has done really well. Very proud of what he's accomplished over the years, and they've always been really cool with us in South Range. When we were down at state, we needed a practice. They were right there with Keegan and Hunter and our middleweights and me, and just getting us a practice before state, and just a little roll around and get the jitters out and everything before. And just great successful team they have.
Yeah, when you get two kids that win a state title in the same year, there has to be a lot of buzz in the hallways. They've been doing well the last 5 years, 6 years or so. And I think that once it's just like anything else, once winning cures everything, and winning drives interest in everything. So the interest is there, the success is there, the foundation is there. It's no surprise that they're continuing to win. And with younger guys coming up now that are going to have to take the reins over once these seniors from last year, this year are gone, you always have to replenish, you have to reload. And to do that, you have to have a good foundation. I think that they have that going on there.
What I find so impressive is last year they win state, and it was the first time that Garfield brought a state championship back to their school. But there was never even once let the foot off the gas pedal or get satisfied with winning one state championship. And I like that Chris used the word dynasty, because that's what it takes to build that kind of program that's going to be winning consistently. You can't be satisfied with one. You got to stay hungry. We've seen that from Garfield this year. They're not satisfied with winning the first state championship in program history. They're coming right back for more.
You have to be hungry. You can't settle, because now you've proven to everybody that you are the man and you've got a target on your back. So everybody's going to be coming from you. What would be, outside in the regular season, what would be the best win you could have as an individual? Well, you beat a state champ. So now you're going to get everybody's best. Nobody's got anything to lose. They got nothing to lose wrestling a state champ. They only have something to gain. So you have to keep your mind sharp. You have to be on alert, and you can't take any matches off. I don't think that's happening at all with Keegan Sell and that program. And I'm sure that he's out. He knows all of this, and he's just he's probably just hit another level. Knowing to win one is special. To repeat is not only special, but about as rare as it comes.
We'll take a step into the preview section of the Wrestling Wednesday, because we have the comment in the comment section that's driving us there. Big matchup tonight. Nick Bowser from Hubbard, Masden from Alliance. Chris, what do you think about this matchup?
So I've been getting texts all day about this, thinking what my opinion is. Nick Bowser, I mean, he's just been lighting it up for Hubbard. He won EOWL. He's been doing really good. Aiden Masden from Alliance, coming off an ACL tear. He bumped up a weight class from last year from 215 to heavyweight. Masden, another kid, when it came down to states, me and him, we were drilling. We were in different divisions. We weren't going to see each other. So it was one of those things. It was all right to, wrestle each other, practice, get ready for state. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a dog fight. Who's got the bigger dog in him? Who wants to come out with the win? I'm going to be curious. I wish we got it on the network tonight, but cannot, unfortunately. It's going to be a good match. I don't know. It's going to be really good. I'm going to be interested to see it. And I'll be waiting to get texts on my phone.
We had Nick Bowser on the show. He was one of our first guests in season 3 here this year. Love that kid, man. Love the swagger he brings to that Hubbard program, and like taking it to new heights this year. I mean, I know he was disappointed with the injury in state last year, and he made that known right away. Like, the lights were not too big. He was dealing with injuries. He battled through it, got through state, and now this year he's trying to prove something. Like, hey, I'm the best heavyweight in the dang area, and it feels like he's been there for 6 years. The dominance he's been having at Hubbard.
I honestly feel like he's hitting his stride right at the perfect time. You talk about NFL teams hitting their stride. I mean, look at the Chiefs. They hit their stride right into, going into the playoffs and into the postseason and winning the Super Bowl. But this is wrestling. But Nick Bowser lost to Vince Luce, I talked about earlier, from Canfield earlier on in the season, in that EOWL, beat him in the semifinals. And then in the finals, beat the number 1 ranked kid in Division III, defending state runner-up, Dallas McCracken. So he's been wrestling at the top of his game all year. Proud for Nick. It's going to be a great match tonight.
Another big one happening tonight as well. Jackson Milton and Waterloo are both going to United. That should be a really fun try down there in Hanoverton. What do you think about that, Gary? A lot of teams you're really familiar with.
Yeah, United fills a full team. We've talked about this a million times, how important that is with a dual match. Especially in the small school division, Division III. So they're going to send a kid out at every single weight class. I think Jackson Milton is really close to having a full team, and they've been doing well this season. That'll probably be a pretty good duel. I don't think Waterloo fills as many weight classes, but the weight classes they do fill, they're all quality kids. They've all got a lot of experience. They've been on the mat for a long time, and they're going to come out and fight. And I know Coach John there is not going to roll over for anybody. Those will be 3 fun duels to watch. You're probably going to see some upsets and some really close matches in those duels.
Of course, United has Dallas McCracken, who is one of the most feared dudes in the whole area. I mean, he's been having a heck of a career. Chris, let's talk about Jackson. I want you to talk about Jackson Mountain, the small school program that is just built, and every year they're getting better and better and better. What do you think it takes to just continuously go brick by brick for a program like that?
It's going to start at the youth program. My old head coach, Coach Markulin, he started at the youth program and worked his way up all the way to high school. And the rest is history, what he did there at South Range. But it's got to start you got to have someone in the youth, and you just got to go work up the whole way. You got to have some Just coach some studs up the whole way up and do your thing. And you got to get lucky. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush. You got to get lucky. You just got to, some things got to fall your way. A coin toss. I mean, that's the huge thing that helped us at South Range is a coin toss. We don't win a coin toss. I don't think we win a state championship. I'm going to say it straight out. But a lot of things got to go your way, and but a lot of things it's going to take a time. You're going to take some lumps over time, but you got to go back to the youth program, start out fresh if something's not going right. At the high school level, go start out fresh, get a whole new program rolling, and get up there. With that being said, they did that. They're at one of the better small schools in our area at Jackson Milton. They got a lot of good kids, Jaden Scott, the McDevitt brothers, and I think one of them just graduated, but they got some good kids over there in Jackson Milton.
Yeah, Owen McDevitt, I graduated last year, and now it's like the family just keeps coming back, and just like the Cells and the Endells, it's like, hey, you're not done. You had another one coming right out of the ranks. Chris, you run our social media page for YSN Wrestling. I don't want to ruin the mystique. If it wasn't out there, it's this guy doing it down there, doing all the work, getting all these wrestlers highlighted on YSN's wrestling Instagram page. What's that been like this year to be able to gather a lot of these 100 wins, 100 career wins, and just be able to shine a light on all the area wrestling?
Well, thanks to you, Anthony, for getting me a lot of those pictures. It's different this year, running a social media, learning more of a social media aspect, getting pictures for our countdown. It's going to be, I want to do, there's a lot more I want to do. There's yearly awards I want to get into this year. Gary and I will talk about that, and other guys that have helped me calling matches and getting those awards out. It's something fun. I wanted to do a countdown to state, and I did that where I think we're on day 23, and I think I'm going to do the last 10 days of all state champs. So that'll be fun. Something interesting to do. It's exciting. It's something new to do. It's not, looking at the same stuff all the time. It's something just, attention to wrestling. It's just not, everything that gets mixed in there. It's just wrestling, and wrestling fans can go on there and see what's going on, see who got their 100th win, who's spotlighted today on the countdown, and X, Y, and Z.
All right, who is spotlighted on today's countdown? Who got the nod?
The nod today was Devin Phillips, the 190-pounder from Austintown Fitch Falcons. Had a big pin last week against Canfield. The 190, Phillips got the pin, and then the 215, I forget his last name, but his first name starts, he's Cameron, I forget his last name. He got actually put into 215, and Marky got put up to heavyweight. Those three matches were crucial in Austintown Fitch's key success to win. And Phillips also won the Joshua Hetner Memorial Tournament the week before EOWL. A pretty big win, pretty big tournament to win.
Scotty, I want to bring you in the conversation real quick. Because I know something's on your mind. You've been salivating, asking these guys something. What's on your wrestling mind today? What do you want these guys to answer?
Yeah, so I just wanted to know, I guess, first from you, Chris, like what has helped you most, and kind of what's the number one thing that has helped you appreciate wrestling more now that you're done with high school and you could take a step back and you're a big face here at YSN? But what's one thing, I know you gotta miss the high school part of it, but what's one thing that you kind of cherish now that you're done with high school that you appreciate more about wrestling?
I love that question. One thing I don't miss is I never really had to weight cut, but a weight cutting is one thing that I will not miss. But I just like giving back. Every now and then I'll go pop in and see what's going on. Get a little workout in with my old room, my old teammates. See, what can I do there. I just like to give back, and I want to give these kids the recognition that they deserve and the spotlight that they get for this short amount of time. I think it's like 7% that can go to the next level and participate in college sports, or it's some crazy number like that. I want to give these kids the short amount of time that they have to be on the spotlight, to be recognized, and, deserve what they get for putting in all this hard work.
Are there any wrestlers that you didn't know too much about before, this year, that because you're broadcasting, because you're running social media, have really just, come to the limelight for you?
A lot. Yeah. I mean, Canfield kids, Tyler Scher. I mean, I kind of knew about him, but I saw him actually wrestle this year. It was really good. Marky Stankorb from Fitch, really turned it on this year. Who else? Trying to think of names. Put me on the spot here. Brayton Feaster from Hoban, and he's a freshman, but I mean he's an animal. He's a 215 animal, to say the least. Trying to think of guys. There's just so many guys in our area. Northeast Ohio is the best part in the state of Ohio for wrestling. It's where some dogs are at.
By the way, not only can you find the countdown on YSN's wrestling social media account, but you'll also find all the 100 career wins that we get, milestone wins that we get reported to us. I think the last one came out of Canfield, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Tyler Scher,
Yep.
Getting his 100th career win, and if you have your 100th career win and you want it highlighted, make sure to get us the photo. We'll definitely put it up there on the YSN Wrestling Instagram page. We can't let you go, Chris. We can't let this episode go with you without an update on South Range, right? It's your home. It's your alma mater. What have you been seeing from the Raiders this year? How close have you been with that program this year too?
I've been following them pretty close. I mean, I'm gonna favor them a little bit. They're my guys. My head coach retired, but the guy filling in, Frank Giordano, he's an awesome guy, great coach. He's gonna have a lot of success for that program in this near future. He's got a lot of good guys on his staff: John Tomeno, Jeremy Welker, JTC Schultz, a lot of guys that are gonna be improving this program. Right now it's a rebuilding year. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be tough. It's a rebuilding year for these guys, 100%, losing 4 really good seniors in this last year. All were state qualifiers last year, if not that, the year before. They got Tyson C. Schultz, the sophomore, placed as a freshman at state. Caden Welker, unfortunately, had some injuries happen that I got to shout my guy out. He's a senior, Willie Richardson. He blew out his shoulder, is done for the season. This kid's worked so hard his whole career. His whole high school career, he's just worked so hard, and it sucks. Injuries suck, but there's a bigger part of life that God didn't want him to be in this position, to get hurt in a big match or something. But his season's coming to an end. He'll be recognized tomorrow night for senior night at South Range. Tyson, Caden, Johnny Tomeno is doing really good. He most improved wrestler on that South Range team. Eddie Stakowitz blew out his knee last year, couldn't wrestle, really turning it up this year. He's a sophomore, got 2 great years of that. Excited to see how he folds out. And Patrick Lally, he's taken over 215, a spot that I'm very familiar with, doing very well. The light bulb's one screwing away from turning on for him, and he'll be a state qualifier right around the corner. So, there's some youth in that program, and we got a lot of kids coming up into the middle school program next year. And then we have 3 really good athletes coming up from the 8th grade program to high school. So they're going to be a young team. They're going to hit some lumps. They're going to see some real men to wrestle, but they're going to be just fine in the years coming.
Tyson C. Schultz places as a freshman last year. What is his path this year to get right back to that in his sophomore season?
Yeah, that was my buddy all year. That was my best friend all last year. We stayed in, when we were at districts, we stayed in the hotel room together, state room together. I mean, he's one of my best friends till this day. We keep in touch, talk to him all the time. He's doing really well. His path to making it to state, it's up to him, and he's got that dog in him. He's got that willpower. He's got that strength. He's one of the best, if not the smartest wrestler I've ever been around. He always seems like he's in bad position, but he's never not. Even when I drill with him and roll around with him in the off season, it feels like I'm in good position, but I'm not. He's that one step ahead. He's in chess, you say you got to be 3 moves ahead. He's 4 moves ahead. He's a legit wrestler. His path, it's going to be up to him. How bad do you want it? And I know he wants it really bad to be on top of that podium as a sophomore. Battling a little bit of an injury, but it's all cleared up for him. Held him out of EOWL and some other tournaments. I know he wanted to be a 4-time EOWL champ when there's only I don't know the exact number, Gary may know, but there's a handful of 4-time EOWL champs. Won it as a freshman. Couldn't wrestle it this year. But, you don't win state championships in January. You win them in March.
That's exactly right. I love that mentality, my man. Man, the Raiders would love to put a placer on state in a rebuilding year.
Yep.
Rebuilding year. We still have state placers, and not a lot of programs can say that in a rebuilding year.
Yep.
Chris, thank you so much for
Thank you,
hopping
guys.
on with us. Wrestling Wednesday, episode 11. It's fun. You're always welcome every week. You want
Thank
to
you.
pop on. We'll definitely have you.
Yes, thank you.
Continue grinding, and we'll see you on the call soon.
Yes, thank you, guys.
When is your next broadcast? Let's shout that out. Do you know?
Hey, honestly, we may be done for the year because I don't think because sectionals are next week, right, Gary? Next weekend,
24th, a week from Saturday.
Yeah. And I don't think we're doing sectionals districts. None of the sectionals districts. I think we're wrapped up. To be honest with you,
we should get you there, and then you can be like a social media director.
Yeah.
Districts and
Yeah, I'll be at sectionals districts. Where I'll be following South Range.
Yeah,
wherever they're at. But there's a bombs page where I'll be following that, and I can give reports out and X, Y, and Z, the whole 9 yards, and who's qualified for what. And definitely I'll get down at state and get some pictures and get some interviews with some guys.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely bring you on again before all that.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be able to preview all that.
Season's just starting.
Yeah, let's go. This is the final stretch. Chris, thank you so much for hopping on with us today. We'll see you again real soon.
Yep, see you guys.